Hi, everybody. Welcome to Am I the Asshole podcast. I'm Danny Vega here with my lovely co-host, Sara Levine. Sara, what's going on? You got some juice for us. You went on a FaceTime date? I do have some juice.
Yeah, I went on a FaceTime date.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, I mean, it went pretty well, but except for the fact that, like, he kept asking me why I'm single and, like, asking me, like, semi-probing questions.
Okay. Well, what is your response? Is that, can you ask once? Can someone say, hey, well, why are you single? What's the answer to that? I want to know. What's your answer?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just stammering. I feel like I had a more coherent answer when he asked me this. I mean, the answer is just, like, I have been trying and failing for, like, 5 years. Like, I don't know.
Okay, not a great answer. I think we can work on that, but go on.
Okay. What do you mean?
I wouldn't word it as failing. Why are you failing?
I mean, and I didn't tell him that I'm failing, but, like, you know,
okay.
Functionally.
Well, why didn't you just say I haven't found the right person?
Yeah, I guess that's a good answer. That's, like, a better way to put it.
I'm better at being single than Sara.
Yeah, I feel like he kept asking it in a way that's, like, he was, like, semi like bewildered and like waiting for the other shoe to drop, like as if I'm going to be like, oh, right, well, I actually did kill my last boyfriend or something. Like I would reveal something insane, but it's like, I don't actually know what to tell you either, like, is the thing.
Yeah, you don't know. I honestly think you don't know. And it's funny to me because and you know, call me out if I'm going too far here, but I see a lot of low self-esteem in what you're saying. You're a good-looking gal. You got a huge social media following. You're funny. You're crushing on the twits. You're crushing on the Instas.
Thank you.
So
the thing
why
is, like, I know all
are
that.
you single?
Yeah, I mean, I know
you
all
know.
that. So
why are you single? We want answers. The people want answers. Doesn't add up.
But it's like I couldn't tell you. I mean, the best answer that I could give is like I spent too much time investing in the wrong people, and then I got jaded.
Yeah, no. I mean, you kind of have said that before. To be frank.
Yeah.
You have. You have.
And also,
so why?
I stopped trying.
So then you stop trying
yeah,
now.
So
you
now
slow
it's
down
not
the
a
trying.
mystery because it's like, oh, I haven't been on a date or like actually really had a conversation with anyone on a dating app in like, you know, 9 months or whenever quarantine started. So at that point, I can't act surprised because it's like I've made a concerted effort not to make an effort.
Okay.
Or
I don't know if that's how effort works.
Not that I made an effort not to make an effort, but like, yeah, I really haven't gone out of my way to do anything.
You can just say I haven't made an effort. You don't need to make an effort to not make an effort.
I haven't made an effort.
Making an effort. So, but the thing is now that we're back to is, so why are you investing in the wrong people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think because I would tend to get swept up in like charm and not really analyze the flags that were getting thrown in my path.
And there were flags that you missed. Did you pick? Do you
have
the flags now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see the flags now. What are some of these flags?
Like. I don't know, not making plans like far in advance.
Sure.
Things like, I don't know, just like being hesitant about like meeting my friends or stuff like that.
They were hesitant about meeting your friends. That's a red flag for you.
Yeah.
Because that shows non-committal.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. I'm chewing on this. You know, I'm honestly not moved on from my sitch in a variety of ways. My brain is really putting on quite a show. I'm getting nightmares about both my exes. There's really a lot going on in my hell brain.
That sucks.
But yeah, I am better, everybody, in case any of you are concerned. Running really coming in clutch. My daily runs really putting me in a good mood. And I had a great weekend. Big ups to Jordan Raybould, who has been on the pod before.
Woo.
Took me on the road. We had a great time with this guy, Christian Duran. You know, just the boys at a socially distanced comedy show. Had a couple good sets. We love it. Had a lot of fun. But yeah, I've really been my first kind of thing is enjoying solitude. You know, really getting in there and being like, why can't I be alone? Why don't I enjoy being alone? And I want to be better at being alone.
There you go.
And how do you feel about that? And I don't mean being single. I mean very literally being alone.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess it's kind of like if you can be comfortable being alone. One thing I have realized, and by the way, somebody left, I believe this was Justine. She left this awesome comment on Patreon, which I've been chewing on. She goes, it's actually really easy to fall in love, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I love this. I
agree. No, it's a thing because it's so easy to get like swept up in infatuation. But like at the same time, I feel like that's why people get into bad relationships because you get swept up.
Yes.
you either don't notice red flags or you explain them away or you let the other person explain them away and you want to believe it. So you like do.
Right.
I feel like dating is hard because you actually have to have this almost, it's like you have to sort of separate the emotional from like the analytical and the logical, which is like inherently difficult to do. And yeah.
For me, what I'm thinking, let me throw this quote I ran into. I love this quote. This is kind of on the solitude note, okay? The capacity to be alone is the capacity to love. It may look paradoxical to you, but it's not. It is an existential truth. Only those people who are capable of being alone are capable of love, of sharing, of going into the deepest care of another person without possessing the other, without becoming dependent, without reducing the other to a thing, without becoming addicted. They allow the other absolute freedom because they know that if the other leaves, they'll be as happy as they are now. Their happiness cannot be taken by the other because it's not given by the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little long-winded, but pretty generally spot on.
Hey, could you be a little kinder to my quotes? I think it was a good quote. It's not like it's my quote. I'm a little
why
defensive.
Do you care?
Well, yeah, and I guess I'm kind of the asshole because I didn't even write down where I got this. So I'm not even able to cite the quote. But I think the bottom line is that it's important to be comfortable being alone, and that's what I'm trying to cultivate. And I've actually written lists of red flags, and I've been doing some thinking along those lines, which has been kind of cool to realize. Like, I need to have high standards, and I shouldn't just let myself date people or mess around with people because I'm bored. I need to be able to enjoy my time.
Yeah, exactly.
It is expert legendary difficulty right now since, things aren't so much happening.
What? Expert legendary difficulty? What does that mean?
Oh, well, that's a boy reference. It's a Halo is a video game. Legendary is the most difficult mode. But anyway, it's an especially difficult time because, and by the way, I'm sorry for any women out there who play Halo. It's ridiculous that I gendered that.
Yeah,
I understand.
I thought that for Halo is for
Halo transcends, frankly, gender, culture. I don't think I need to go on any farther. But, it's a hard time because there's nothing happening, especially now New York City shutting down. They're not letting the kids go to school. I mean, it's truly a tough time, but maybe the best time ever in another way,
Yeah, for sure.
Less FOMO in the air is what I mean. In terms of solitude, there is less FOMO now than ever. FOMO levels are very low.
I love that. I love not having FOMO.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. And then I realized, I don't know, staying in is great.
Yeah, staying in has its perks. I love that Elise told us that she's been doing a lot of reading. I don't know why. I was kind of starting to read more. And then when she said that, I was like, that's so great. I should be able to read more. And I've really been actually chewing on a book now that my therapist recommended. And the basic premise is that anxiety is just future fear. So your anxiety is just that you're going to have fear in the future. Mm-hmm. And there's only 5 basic fears. And the opposite of fear is fulfillment. So I've been kind of chewing on this and addressing my fears. And it's been good because I realize a lot of times I get worked up and anxious about something. And I'm like, this is literally completely unnecessary because I know that once the problem actually gets here and I have to deal with it, I'll be fine. So what am I anxious about? And it kind of goes away, just that mentality.
Well, that's
it's been very helpful.
I get
that. It's been good. And then I'm still on my self-love journey. I was watching some Brene Brown videos today. Just, being grateful, appreciating yourself. I'm all about it. I know it can be cheesy or corny, but you can look in the mirror and say, I love you, me, baby. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person.
There we go.
Makes you a good person. And that's another thing. I was actually telling my friends this, and they didn't know if they'd heard of this. I said, never call yourself a bad person. You done a bad thing. You done shitty things, but you're not a bad person. You're a good person who made a mistake.
Yeah. For sure.
Do you have those thoughts, Sarah? I hate myself or I'm a bad person, things of this nature?
No, I don't really ever think I'm a bad person. Okay. Sounds cocky to say, but no.
No. But so you say, I did a bad thing. I messed up. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something I did was bad, but I know that holistically I'm not a bad person.
Yeah. I mean, I'm learning these things and it's helping. I'm really trying to nip them in the bud and be a damn good boy and love myself. That's where I'm at, people. And I hope if any of you have any self-reflection or any of this gratitude or juicy quotes for us, we love that. Throw that right in the submission form. We'll read it on air and we love to hear it.
There
people.
We go.
All right, we're going to play a little round of Guess the Verdict. Here we go. AITA for taking my parents' side when my brother came out of the closet.
You'd think YTA. I have to be honest, I did read this one.
Oh, boy.
Should I pretend I didn't?
Yeah, go with just go with your instinct.
Okay, I mean, my instinct would be YTA because you would think there would be some like kind of homophobic reaction.
And what's the answer?
I think the answer is no assholes here.
That is correct. I was worried you might have read it, but I thought you did your Guess the Verdicts on Wednesday. F me running, people. Anyway, I made a mistake. I'm not a bad person.
There we
Thank
go.
you. Now, this is a pretty juicy concept, actually. We got to ask a gay person what they say, but I'm pretty juiced up on this. This guy came out as gay. His parents smiled and said congrats, and they said, we'll always love you and support you. And the brother who came out, it kind of felt like he wanted more. He wanted more of a reaction there. And OP says, look, man, they don't care who you bang, and their reaction was fine. And then OP's brother called him the asshole because he said that was fine. Then the top Reddit comment was, no assholes here. Pop culture has made coming out into a dramatic event. Your parents support him. What else does he want?
Yeah, guys, I do feel like if you've worked yourself up into like a frenzy to make a very like emotional confession and then the reaction is a little anticlimactic, like even if it's a relief, I can see just feeling like, well, what now?
Well, shouldn't it be more special, though, that you're gay? I mean, like, who gives a shit if you're straight? Everyone's straight, mostly, so who cares? But then I sort of feel, and you're also coming out, right? You got to do that. So, like, I kind of feel like a cake is in order. I don't know. That's my intuition.
I mean, not that the parents would have had, like, logistical time to get a cake.
No, but they could have said,
happening.
we'll get a cake. They could have said, we'll get a cake or whatever, we'll have a party if you want one. They didn't seem to offer that. They just kind of smiled and said, we'll always love and support you. I don't know. I mean, I'm talking out of my ass here, but I guess I sort of do feel like
it would just really depend on the person. We can't generalize at all. Like some people I'm sure would want a party. Some people would want no attention.
Yeah, I guess I feel like maybe, not that this changes the verdict, but that this guy could have been like, well, what did you want, brother? Why don't we just make whatever you want to happen here? What is it that you want? Do you want David Dobrik to buy you a car? 4 people got that reference, but I made it. And, what do you want? And then let's make it happen. So the brother could have been a bit kinder, perhaps, but I don't think he's the asshole.
Yeah. AITA for refusing to call my niece by her actual name because it's terrible.
Oh, no. I mean, how can this be? How can this be okay? I say YTA.
You are correct.
You would think. I'm correct. I thought you were going to say you would think. Yes.
You are correct. So basically, OP's brother had a baby girl and named her Celexa, which is the name of an antidepressant. Oh,
is this real? This
I don't know.
Real.
OP calls her
Please
Lexa, and then the mom and family are mad. The top verdict was YTA. I mean, basically, you're the first bully in this kid's life, so congrats on that. People sometimes have unusual names. Being so immature and petty that you refuse to refer to a human being by their name is stupid and mean.
Yeah, I'm on board. I mean, if that's her name, that's her name. What are you gonna do,
right.
Celexa? This is my daughter, Celexa, and her sister, Prozac.
I was going to say Nexium.
Nexium is here.
Heartburn medicine, but now it's a sex cult, so maybe not that one.
Yeah, and this is her dad, IUD. He just goes IUD, no mister, nothing. AITA for feeling upset my fiance will spend his birthday with his father instead of with me.
Huh. I'm going to go with YTA.
YTA is correct.
All right.
Now, OP is 20, so who even cares? Of course she's the asshole.
Oh, come on. Okay, whatever.
And
hit me.
Not saying all 20-year-olds are assholes. I know some of you play Halo, and that's chill as hell. So OP is like a 20-year-old female, and, her fiance is 26M, and they've been engaged for a year now, and, OP admits that she's very sensitive, but then the bomb drops. Mother-in-law, okay, so freaking OP's fiance's mother died, I kid you not, almost 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Hello. So fiance wants to spend his birthday with his dad because, freaking mom just died.
Right.
Hello.
Obviously.
Merry-go-round 1996 with the top verdict, YTA. He just lost his mom and you're making this about you. You may be his fiance, but this is his father who lost his wife and he lost his mom.
Yeah, and it's his birthday.
I mean, I think, I don't think that it's his birthday is sufficient, but when your mom dies, it's kind of like, dude, you gotta It's a griever. It's the Chris Calogero griever thing. You always got to let a griever grieve, and this is a form of, we're 2 months out here, you know?
Yeah, definitely. All right.
I mean, I'm still grieving my 90-day relationship, and we're 2 months out. So let's reality check this, OP.
For sure. Okay, AITA for secretly selling my girlfriend's clothes to pay the bills.
What the hell? I feel like they were really expensive. I'm going to chance this and say NTA.
All right, it was ESH. Here's the deal.
Ooh, juicy.
Yeah, the girlfriend has a shopping addiction. She is struggling to pay for rent and bills because she can't stop ordering clothes. OP has started selling her clothes to pay for bills, and the girlfriend hasn't noticed they're gone. Top verdict, master dash manipulation, ESH, but you less so. Technically, you should not be taking her clothes and selling it, but I get why you are doing it. And then they were like, you should give her an ultimatum. She needs help, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sarah, I think you're the winner there, even though you did sort of, quote unquote, you didn't cheat. I should have been more diligent. Sarah's the winner. Sarah's the reigning champ.
Woo!
Hey, big ups to our new Patreon patron, Katie. And this is a gentle reminder here. We would really appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe. It takes 1/1000th of a millisecond. Literally, Sarah wrote this. Literally, you can quote Danny on that. Okay, that's what Sarah wrote. Sign up for the Patreon where we are doing weekly bonus episodes now. Obviously, they're filled with the juiciest juice that we can find. Honestly, I'm sharing so much juice that Sarah actually was like, hey, dude, I think this is kind of fucked up. And I was like, you're probably right. I won't do it again, but I'm putting it out anyway. That's the level of juice that's being juiced. So you wrote here, Sarah, are you an asshole if you're having loud sex with your window wide?
Someone put this in the Facebook group. I didn't want to count it as a listener submission because it's like one sentence, but I thought it'd be funny to discuss.
Are you an asshole if you're having loud sex with your window wide open in a very family-oriented apartment complex at 6 p.m. on a Sunday?
I'm going to go with no.
I'm going to go with yes.
Really?
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Loud sex with a window open? What is that? First of all, what? That's my first YT what? What are you doing? There's no reason to have the window. There's no reason to have a window open when you fuck someone. What are you trying to do? That's like exhibitionism.
I don't know. Is it hot outside? They don't have air conditioners?
I mean, it's not hot anywhere. It's freaking November. So, and then
Danny thinks that New York is the world.
Well, I mean, whatever, fine if they're on the equator. But like, I just feel like, look, you got to be considerate of your neighbors. If you're in a freaking apartment complex, give me a break and a half. You should be doing everything you can within reason to reduce the noise levels, shut your door, shut your windows. I mean, like, come on, give me a break. That's like just common courtesy. It shouldn't need to be explained. You know, I mean, I live on a fairly, I wouldn't call it busy, but there's people outside fairly often. And well, I guess there's very rarely kids outside, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't fuck with the window open. Or like if I did, I wouldn't like scream, you know, not that I normally scream. Not that there's any passion in my love life ever, but if there was, I wouldn't be loud about it. But yeah, no, I think this is such an asshole move.
I feel like one time maybe they just didn't realize how loud they were being. But if this is like a habit where these people do this regularly, then yeah, definitely the asshole.
But that's, you know, you could do that with that. Oh, well, I didn't realize my boombox was so loud. I didn't know it was loud enough to bother you. Well, it's like you should have take a second and think about the fact that you're in an apartment complex. You share walls with mother effers, you know? Like, I think it's a one strike to be an asshole on something like this because you should have some awareness of noise. Isaiah L., he says, LOL, your business is your business. They shouldn't be listening that hard. I don't know. Sex can be pretty loud.
I mean, the thing is, like, living in an apartment, it's hard to know like how loud you're actually being and how much like sound travels or doesn't travel. Like my friend had to go knock on her upstairs neighbors, upstairs or downstairs, I don't remember, but like her neighbors because their music was too loud. And like it's not like they were, you know, bumping the bass and having like a rave. Well,
yeah, I mean, look, but if you were trying, okay, if you're trying and you're being reasonable and that, you know, you happen to have paper thin walls, then fine. But like, you know, I think it's a common sense idea of like, I know loud sex when I hear it, you know, call me the Supreme Court. Okay. But I know, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like there's podcast loud and then there's like, you know, dad snoring is a little bit louder. And then there's like car horn and then there's like truck horn and then there's loud sex. So like, I know. I mean, loud sex is fucking loud. Because, okay, this is a true story. One time I slept with this girl and she screamed so loud. It honestly ruined it for me.
Ugh.
It was the loudest sound I've ever heard in my entire life.
What?
And yeah, and so like later she was like, "Oh, I'm actually into like kind of like dominance and submission stuff. Like, so I wanted you to not let me scream." And I was like, "You gotta say
you
that.
have to communicate that."
I know. And she was screaming so loud that it was like not hot because I was like, "Oh my god, there's no way that everyone in the building isn't being woken up by this insane." It sounded like bloody murder. It sounded like I was killing her.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah,
if that's your barometer for loud sex, then I can see why you would go this way.
Well, I'm not saying everyone is as loud as her, but they're definitely
I'm like,
half
that's
as
aggressive.
Loud, you know? Yeah. Well. Maddie L says, yes, you are. I think this is no brainer. Jillian W says, nope. If you live close enough to hear me banging my husband, that's entirely your choice. Move to the country. Family oriented, my arse. No, Jillian, because it's an apartment complex, so that's how apartment complexes work.
I don't think you can make people move to the country just because
when you move,
that's a little much.
When you move into the apartment complex, you're like signing on to the concept of like sharing walls with people and shit. And I don't care if it's family oriented, by the way. This is about basic courtesy. Nobody wants to hear you have sex. It's not about kids, though that does make it worse. Ashley J says, YTA for making me read this. Close your window and turn on the TV, bud. Yeah, this sounds like a flex. This is a little flex post. Amanda G says...
You think the OP was having sex? I kind of got the impression that the OP heard it and was mad.
Maybe, I don't know. I think OP might be trying to brag that they're having sex on a Sunday. And I take it as a personal attack. Amanda G says, as
Danny's
a family-oriented...
sex, no one can.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody needs to calm down. As a family-oriented apartment complex, didn't a lot of people have to have sex in order to create those families? Maybe they just want to fit in. Okay, that is funny.
That's funny.
Bottom line, yes, people, if you live in an apartment complex or your windows are over a public space, I say have a little bit of courtesy. It's common courtesy. Nobody wants to hear that, you know? Guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. I know we just said this. I'm saying it again. Go on to our Patreon, patreon.com/AITAPOD. We love to see it. Weekly bonus eps, call-in show. You love it. It's a great time. We're having the time of our lives on there. I'm dropping the juiciest juice since freaking Tropicana, baby.
Oh, my God.
Our second story of the day, AITA for telling my sister that my husband isn't her husband. Wow, that's a little Dr. Seussian poem if I ever heard one. But first, AITA for suing my sister over a poster my sister's son destroyed. Okay, I got to read this again because what? AITA for suing my sister, okay, over a poster that her son destroyed, presumably. Okay, great. My sister brought her kids over 2 weeks ago. In my office, I have a vintage Marvel poster signed by Stan Lee and the artist of the poster. The poster is over 30 years old. Her son saw this, thought it was really neat, and wanted me to give it to him. I tried being diplomatic, but let him know that's not going to happen. For certain reasons, my office door locks behind me, and you need keys to open it. This is important. Okay, so the door locks behind her and you need keys to... Oh, okay. This is important. Fast forward the next day. We're going to the park. I can't find my keys. We're looking around the house and I hear her daughter yell out, "Oh, no." And my sister and I go running. Her son has opened my office and climbed on the desk to get the poster down. In doing it, he managed to tear it in half. I'm furious.
What the fuck?
The poster is not only irreplaceable, I got it signed with my now deceased grandfather. It has a lot of sentimental value for me. My sister completely blew this off. Hell, she even started giggling when her daughter said, "Oh no," the second time because she thought it sounded cute. She didn't even offer an apology. Her argument is that I should have had my keys on me because I should have somehow expected that her son would try to take it down from the wall.
What the fuck?
Dad and wife are firmly in my camp. Dad recognized how important this was to me because it was only a few days before he suddenly passed and was the last thing we did together. My mom and sister are acting like it's no big deal. Sister ghosted me when I texted her asking about compensating me for the poster. In case anyone's wondering, when we moved into my house, we had the poster appraised at $3,000 due to the condition and rarity of this particular poster. I was informed after Stan Lee's death it went up, but we didn't have it reappraised. This particular one does go on eBay, unsigned, fetch north of $2,000.
Ooh.
When I served her, my mom called me up telling me it was no big deal, and she said she found another poster on eBay. When I saw the link, I realized it was completely different. It wasn't signed, nothing like that. Wasn't even the same year. Now, sister is complaining to mom that I'm being mean for going after her and not taking her offer and instead making her pay for it. She thinks I should just let this go because kids will be kids. So AITA here, since this has been raised in a few comments, yes, the poster was framed. It was professionally mounted in a frame. It was not tacked to a wall or anything like that.
What the F?
This is pretty interesting. I gotta say.
And okay.
Well, I guess,
what's interesting to you? I mean, how?
I guess, well, first of all, this is a very expensive thing to be destroyed. And also, like, I don't know that I don't know that I can let OP totally off the hook. I guess tell me if you don't think this is analogous. OP instead has a really nice MacBook she just bought, and she leaves a glass of water by the MacBook. Modern MacBooks are actually pretty resilient to water, but go with me here. Child knocks over the water, as kids are bound to do, spills all over the MacBook. MacBook's broken. Is the parent liable for the MacBook?
I think as a gesture of goodwill, yeah.
But are they the asshole if they don't pay for the MacBook? I think that's kind of the question.
I get the analogy that you're like going for. I do feel like this situation is different because it required a lot more effort than just knocking over something by accident.
Yeah, the kid had more intent, but I guess for me that kind of rounds to zero because, like, he's a kid. Because he's a kid. He's not the one being sued. So then
for sure. I mean,
the premise here is not that the kid should not be disciplined. I think we agree there. It's the question is, are they liable either way? Or let's suppose the kid did it on purpose or whatever you want,
Yeah, I guess like why is your kid going around ripping people's shit off the walls?
Yeah.
That's a little nuts. And then also, I'm confused about this door because it seems like the type of door that just locks from the outside, like when you close it, it automatically locks.
Yeah.
So the son like searched for these keys, went into this office, climbed on the desk to rip this poster down. It's pretty bad.
I guess I don't love also that OP had to sue. She had to actually sue.
Yeah, the suing is definitely taking it far, but at the same time, like the sister completely dismissed OP. Every single time they wanted even like a reasonable apology.
Right. I mean, not apologizing is insane.
Yeah.
Kimberly M, I think, has a good comment here. She says NTA, if she really didn't think she did anything wrong, going to court would be no big deal. I mean, that's true.
That's kind of true. It's like,
would this
you're in the wrong.
Court?
What?
I have no idea. I have no idea if this would stand up in court.
I mean, yeah, you just go to small claims court.
Yeah, for what, though? What's the crime? Destruction of property?
Damage.
Property damage, but it was the kid who did it, so the parent's liable. I guess that makes sense.
I feel like they would be because I'm just thinking in like situations where if people are like underage drinking at a house, the parents are responsible because it's their house.
Right, not the kids. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. Not a lawyer.
Not a lawyer. I guess I don't like really the way this went down, and I struggle because I don't really have memorabilia. I'm not a nostalgia factor or sentimental factor guy, so it's a little bit tough for me. But there's definitely a lot of serious problems with sister's side. Let's be honest. Taking no responsibility right out the bat is just insane, and then refusing to apologize, you hate it.
And then just complaining to the mom that the OP is being mean. Like that is what? Are we in third grade?
Yeah, I mean, as usual, I have to go back to like a money is real thing and wonder what the financial picture is. But because that hasn't been explicitly stated, I kind of feel like everyone's kind of comfortable with the numbers here. Like, obviously, nobody wants to throw $3,000 away because their kid ripped a poster. But somehow I feel like since that hasn't been mentioned at all, that, she'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And if she wasn't, then I feel like they would like you'd bring that up and not make it seem like, oh, this isn't important.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I mean, this is not a good defense if that's really the situation. Erica M says, NTA, this is called accountability. I mean, I'm trying to think if I had a dog or something. I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm really trying to identify as being single. So I'm not even allowing myself to imagine having a kid. Now, if I had a dog and it ripped up someone's jacket or something and they're like, yeah, this is a $2,000 jacket.
Yeah, I would feel like that sucks and I don't want to pay for it, but at the same time, it's the right thing to do.
It is.
At least offer to like go halvesies.
Yeah, at least work them down a bit and be like, look, like, your jacket looks delicious, so that's why the dog ate it, but I'll meet you in the middle. Yeah.
Right.
And at least to be apologetic. Nikki C says, NTA, sister needs to take responsibility for her child and make him understand his actions have consequences. I say, yeah, let's put this kid...
Yeah, but then suing, like making the sister pay $3,000 doesn't teach the son that his actions have consequences, because those aren't consequences for him. But I agree with the sentiment for sure.
Yeah, well, OP needs to. OP is not responsible for disciplining the child.
No.
But yeah, that should be part of it. Like, you need to teach your kid. I mean, that's something that probably she wouldn't necessarily want to say, but yeah, that's obviously a component here. Aiden E writes, if I had something important like that, it being torn wouldn't remove the sentimental value. Unless you planned on selling it, the tear means nothing. Put it back in a frame and hold on to the memory you made with your grandfather. It sounds like you're being petty and just looking for money. That's actually a pretty solid point. I got to admit that, like, it being torn, really, like, the signatures are still there. Obviously, it's not aesthetic. Obviously, I still might want some compensation, but the sentimental value is kind of still there.
I guess that is a good point. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would be pissed if, like, my shit was, ripped.
Of course,
you could tape it. It's not the same, so.
It's not the same.
Asking for the full asking price, I guess. If you were never going to sell it, why bother? I don't know.
I think there's a lot of hurt here, and I think obviously this family has a very odd dynamic. The notion that this would turn to suing is almost putting me in an ESH, but I don't have enough ground to really come for OP. But like, I see a very toxic family system here where it has to like play out like this. Like, you shouldn't have to use lawyers and shit to solve family drama. And I don't actually think it's about the money. I think you kind of nailed it, because in not getting the apology, it's like, well, you're giving me nothing, so I can't even forgive your ass. So then I'm just going to sue you, which is obviously toxic. But, it really does fall back on the sister being so rigid.
I do feel if the sister had even shown like an ounce of, not humility, what's the word? Whatever, being apologetic,
understanding,
then maybe
anything.
This wouldn't have had to. Yeah, sure, any adjective. Any noun you want to use. Anyways, like, even if she'd seemed even a bit apologetic in the beginning, I feel like OP wouldn't have felt so motivated to like take it this far. But I kind of feel like it's a bit of a fuck you move, because they're mad.
They're mad. They haven't felt heard at all. This is not a good way to solve a family toxic, but they're in a corner, but this family, I'm not a fan of this family that this would even get this far, but it's not my place to judge. I don't even know if I'm
going to come for the whole family, because the dad and wife, the dad is with OP's side. It's not like the entire family.
They're kids. Well, yeah, I'd be like, why don't you sit down with your sister? Or I would sit down with her as dad. Sure. I'd be like, listen, what's going on here? I don't want your sister to have to sue you. So what's the problem? Because this is unbelievable. Look, he broke the poster. You're a parent. I'm your parent. Let me tell you how this works. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. This shouldn't have to go to a court case. Nonetheless, I'm not gonna ESH this, but I'm just saying there's something to be said about a family that works this way. Everyone's all passive, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. I think they're rich. I'm starting to think they're rich.
When you've tried to get an apology from someone and you've tried to get something from them, and they're just stonewalling you. Okay, like,
yeah, exactly.
Are you gonna fault them for going to escalating it? I can't.
I'm not faulting them, but I'm like, what's the problem with this family where that's how this works? Like, somebody should.
Yeah, I feel like the sister clearly has a problem. So
yeah,
that's the problem with the family.
The family has a whole problem, Sarah. It's a toxic family system where, mom is saying different things, and I mean the fact that OP isn't being acknowledged at all, and then mom is like blind to hearing OP. It's like, then why aren't mom and dad lined up on nobody's lined up. I'm just saying, I don't like this family, but look, I think we agree nonetheless. AITA for suing my sister over a poster my sister's son destroyed. I think we agree, not the asshole, and the sister is.
Yeah, we agree.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. It literally takes one actual second. Okay, maybe a little more, but some of you guys have the new iPhone 14 or whatever, get in there, and I know you can be fast about it. Guys, please subscribe to our Patreon. We are having the time of our lives. Weekly bonus episodes, call-in shows, the juiciest juice since Orange D. What do I want? It's not Orange D.
Sunny
what is
D.
that shit called? Sunny D. So, see, it's very overcast, so I forgot the name. But it's really juice, not from concentrate. I mean, it's Sarah. What kind of juice have we? I've confronted Sarah about not sharing enough about herself. We're really getting deep on there. It's getting crazy.
It's fun. I sound
AITA.
riveted. Sorry.
Yeah, do I sound riveted?
It's fun. No, you sound excited. I sound like it's fun, but I actually did mean it.
Get riveted, Sarah. Rosie to rivet your ass to the Patreon, or we call you Judge Judy's. It's fun, people.
There we go.
AITA for telling my sister that my husband isn't her husband. I'll just get straight to the issue. Well, thank you. Get right to the meat first, won't you, OP? My F33 sister, F28, so OP's 33, sister's 28, recently rented an apartment in our hood. Well, did she have sex with the windows open? Okay, moving on. It's a callback, not part of the sitch. Here we go. OP's 33, sister's 28. Sister recently rented an apartment in the hood. She moved out after she broke off her engagement with her fiancé of 4 years. She has a demanding job. She works long hours. Nurse, and added more days of work to be able to pay for rent. You said
it like that.
That's nurse. Well, they threw nurse in the middle of the sentence. You know, what am I supposed to do with these people and their weird grammar? I'd cook her meals once or twice a week, and my husband would take them to her. Wow. Yeah. I'd show up. Well, I guess it's COVID, you know. I'd show up and clean the apartment for her out of respect for what she does, which is pretty stressful. It is. I knew she's been struggling, so I did all I could. Wow, OP, really painting a picture here. She'd come over whenever she has a day off to thank us for giving her meals and helping her out with the apartment. However, after a week or so, I noticed my husband cooking whenever I say I didn't want to, saying my sister could use a homemade meal. Okay, so the husband would start to cook when OP didn't want to cook. I'd call him to see where he was, and he comes to tell me my sister had him clean the basement so she could move the rest of her things. She called him and had him carry boxers for her for a whole day. She'd call him and not me to bring her a charger because she forgot hers at work. It's like she completely forgot about me. Weird. I went to have a talk with her, and she barely found the time to speak. I asked her why she didn't call me when she needed something but kept calling my husband. She said she didn't notice and that I must be busy with my son, even though my husband would help with him too. I told her to call me if she needed something and let my husband get some rest from working all week. She said okay, but it got too much when she called my husband's phone while he was napping and I answered for him. She told me her kitchen faucet needed fixing and was messing up her kitchen, so she called my husband for the kitchen fix. I told her he's napping and wasn't feeling well since the morning, but she kept saying just a few minutes, it won't take long. I reminded her to call my phone instead, but she said that fixing the faucet was men's work. Okay. Anyway, I gave her the number of a plumber we know, but she complained about plumbers costing a lot. I snapped and I told her my husband isn't her husband and that she could call whenever she needed something, that she couldn't call whenever she needed something, that just because she lives near, she gets to have him work for her. She got upset and I haven't spoken to her since this convo. My mom knew and berated me, saying she's my younger sis, that she's going through a lot and I needed to help her. She told me I hurt my sister with my comment, that I needed to apologize to her. AITA.
This is interesting because I really feel like this is a problem of like OP's own making.
Oh, I disagree completely.
Really? I feel like they set up this standard that they were going to basically do everything for her, and now it's like created some muddled boundaries.
Yeah, well, husband should have some boundaries. I would say that. I would say that OP could have said like, "Hey, hubby, why don't you just ignore her because she should be calling me, not you." That's weird. That is weird. It's weird.
It's a little weird. I mean, I think once he started cooking for her unprompted, that's a bit like, why? What's going on here?
It's weird, you know, like gender dynamics are a thing and like you got to be very careful and conscious of these things. I'm not saying it's inherently wrong. I'm just saying you need to be perceptive about it. And yes, it does come across weird if one's sister is calling one's husband repeatedly for husbandy tasks. I would say that's a very valid thing for someone to have an objection to. I'd be like, yeah, that's just not really appropriate.
And it's not like no one's ever cheated with their in-law. Like it's happened before.
That's the hottest. That's the hottest kind of cheating. Everybody wants this kind. It's like the tallest. What? Yeah, you didn't know that?
Why is that the hottest kind?
Because it's so wrong. That's why it's so hot. Well, you're not Catholic, so you don't get it. But
okay,
if you had a lot of shame and guilt, you would understand that it's so wrong and so it's hot. Not that I've ever done it or anything like this, people. But I'm just saying.
Not that you've ever thought about it. Okay.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. But anyway, my point is this is clearly inappropriate. Sister called it out. She called it out. And look, if you're going to be one of these people, oh, well, you know, is it inappropriate, Danny? Well, sister called it out. And she said, hey, please stop doing that. And sister still didn't stop doing it, and she's calling this husband all the time, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's too much.
It's
and like the second OP tried to set up a boundary, the sister should have respected it. The fact that she's not is a little bit sketch.
Exactly. It's very sketch. Elisa L says, YTA, you seem a bit threatened by your sister. If your husband has an issue doing anything for her, he is capable of telling her no, or he can't. I agree with that.
He's not capable.
I do agree with that. I do agree that, OP also should have went to her husband and be like, hey, I'm a little uncomfortable that Amber is calling you, and I'd appreciate if you would not answer. I don't think that's appropriate for her to do that. I don't think it's appropriate for her to take up your time. And I'm a little bit uncomfortable because the reality is that, this is a little weird. And her husband would go, oh, I understand how you feel, babe. I'll direct her toward you from now on or whatever. I won't answer her calls. Megan L says, YT Insecure A, y'all are family. That's her brother-in-law and you're being weird AF. No, Megan. No. I
don't know. It's interesting to see like people's responses because I feel like they're pretty polarizing and it's like, I don't know. It's probably pretty telling.
I can go with Megan for a minute. I could say, well, maybe OP's being a little insecure. But once OP kind of laid down the law and said, listen, stop calling my husband. That's a boundary that is to be respected. It just is. You don't fuck with that kind of shit. I don't care if OP is insecure. You don't get to have the relationship you want that you get to choose with your sibling's husband. You just don't. That's just not how it works. You will respect your sibling on this matter. That's their person. So, do what they say.
Yeah, like back off.
Back off. Andy M says, NTA, she's an adult, can solve her own needs and should agree with your rule. Forcing someone who's unwell to work for free is the A move. Yeah, I don't really
the whole thing about her fighting the plumber, it's like, okay, so you just want this woman's husband. Sorry, you want your brother-in-law to do like free labor for you. Like, for what reason? Like, there's not a good enough reason. Then, plumbers are expensive. Yeah, they're like, what? That's not, no.
I don't think this is about that. I think this is her trying to redraw the boundary, which is actually very like, see, and that's the thing too, right? That's honestly, and I might be going too far. You're gonna push back on this, I have a feeling, but like, see, that's when you get in these gnarly situations with people because you go, hey. Here's a boundary for you, right? And that was OP. She's like, here's a boundary. Stop calling my husband. It's making me uncomfortable. Or what did she actually say?
She said,
call me if you need something and let my husband get some rest
from working all week.
See, I actually think that maybe even the problem here is that she could have been more upfront. Instead, she tried to be rational. And this is something I'm learning about boundaries. I read a whole book about boundaries. And you don't need to explain nothing. If that's your fucking boundary, that's your boundary. You don't need to explain the reason why. You say, here's why, because I feel that that's the way it should be, right? I don't like when you do it, and that's the boundary. You don't need to explain this, oh, he's tired, he's worried. No, the answer is because he's my husband, and that's a boundary that I'm drawing for our relationship, and you're my sister, so you don't get to just walk all over that boundary. That's enough. Mm-hmm. Right? So then what I see here is that we're now going into rational town, right? Now this, plumber's expensive. This has nothing to do with the plumber. This is nothing, it doesn't have nothing to do with the labor, but it has everything to do with the fact that she's crossing boundaries all over the place. And now we're going to this stupid argument about plumbers and money and da-da-da. And it's never been about that. It's been about respect.
Yes, definitely.
So I kind of I see on sister's side, and I'm not saying, look, I'm sure she's stressed out. There's a million reasons why she could be acting like this. But it's very toxic. It's very toxic because now you're having to have this rational argument. It's like, it was never about this. This was about you not respecting my wishes. And that can lead you. Yeah. And that can cause blindness too, right? Because then you're like, why do I feel like shit? Why am I so confused? Why am I left in this like haze after arguing with this person? It's because you're arguing about the cost of plumbing in Puerto Rico. And it's like, or whatever. They don't live in Puerto Rico, but I don't know. I was trying to think, what do they say? BFE, Timbuktu, there's a phrase I want. They say, what's that have to do with the cost of gas in Cairo or something? There's a phrase like that I want.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, there's a phrase about milk costing something in China, or I don't know. It's probably racist. I regret it. I regret touching this. But my point being that it's upsetting when this happens because this is about a boundary that was crossed. Mark H putting it exactly the way I want. ESH, you set a boundary and she crossed it. Although if your husband didn't mind doing things for her, but you felt that she was overusing you and your husband's generosity, then you should have talked to him about it and he could have declined to help. I agree with that. I don't even think this is about the generosity. This is about the lane of communication she was using. That's where this got weird.
I think both. Like, I think she
Sure.
overused the generosity because she was accustomed to like having them do everything for her, and then this as well, the texting the husband or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very sensitive. You know, I live with a couple. I'm not gonna text her. You know, like maybe once, but like I'm not gonna start texting her like a meme or something. That's weird. You know, it's just like you gotta kind of rein it in and be appropriate and not do weird stuff.
Yeah, my last boyfriend did that.
And he was up to no good, right?
I mean, it like blew up our relationship.
Of course it did, because he doesn't respect your boundaries.
I'm not a dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm like, you shouldn't be making plans with my roommate on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, they were innocent, Sarah. Really? Then, so you're saying here that this creature that quacks and eats bread is in a lake. You deny that this is a duck? Whoa, it could be a swan. Okay. Okay. Leto R. LOL. Sister just needs to throw a, can I sleep with your husband? I'm scared of the dark for this to be more obvious. NTA.
Yeah.
Makita D. Sister knew what she was doing. She was committing to bypassing her sister. Wow, beautifully put. After she asked her to call her phone instead of directly speaking to hubby. If you think it's okay to constantly be calling someone to ask for favors, there's a problem. Then on top of that, disturbing him and being pushy about it after OP said her husband sleeping. NTA.
Yeah, this is super sus. I hope we get an update. I hope it's not the update that I think is happening, but
super sus. I actually don't think the husband's that bad. I think he sounds more like a pushover to me. But AITA for telling my sister that my husband isn't her husband. I think even though I'm not ready to like completely murder or like attack the sister who's a nurse and it's COVID, so she might be extremely stressed out. Nonetheless, profound NTA and the sister is. Sarah, we agree?
Yeah, NTA.
AITA. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, listener submissions. AITA for wanting to bust up a gender reveal party. Here in Ontario, that's Canada, folks. The current public health guidelines state that private indoor events and private outdoor events limited to 10 and 25 people respectively. So 10 indoor, 25 outdoor. My neighbor installed a pool this summer and I've been holding many, many social bubble breaking events. I'm sorry, but am I supposed to understand this phrase?
I don't know.
Social bubble breaking events? I mean,
small get-togethers.
Yeah, like, is this Canadian? What is going on? Mini social bubble breaking events. Yesterday, vehicles gathered again as something was brewing in the backyard. I couldn't count accurately how many people were there, but peering over the fence or out our window, it seemed like too many. My family and I left to run errands, and when we returned, the gathering moved indoors as the backyard was empty. Soon, people started to disperse. We counted 14 leaving. Then we stopped counting. Peering over the fence, I could see at least 6 people socializing in the backyard / man cave garage without masks or at least 6 feet apart. I didn't call the authorities because I didn't know who to call. I really wanted to, but I didn't. Likely nobody but us could have known how many people attended their gathering. AITA for wanting to bust up a gender reveal party. AITA for not calling someone during a pandemic. Ooh, these are very good questions.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't think you're the asshole for wanting to bust it up. Like, this is, a serious thing, and they were blatantly breaking the rules.
Yeah. I think, look, and I think, first of all, let me say this, and I hate to sound a little bit, I'm going to say it. I worry I could be irresponsible in saying this.
Here we go.
People are going to break the rules. They just are. And here's the thing, Sarah. I understand why people are breaking the rules because I'm losing my mind. I am. And so I get it. I do think it's very sad to me that there's blatant rule breakers. Like, I mean, we're talking about people with no mask, no concept of social distancing, et cetera, et cetera. That is very upsetting to me, but I do understand why you have people, maybe we'll say, skirting the rules, right? They're breaking the spirit of the rules. For instance, in New York, you're not allowed to have a comedy show indoors unless it's comedy trivia. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so this is a
What does that
loophole.
mean?
Well, this is the loophole, basically, that they put in there. I don't know if it's on accident or not, but like, technically it's legal, so all you have to do is ask a trivia question and call it comedy trivia, right? There's no like comedy.
Why is trivia legal but comedy's not?
Yeah, well, that's a different question, and I don't have the answer to it, but that was the loophole.
Oh, okay. What the hell?
Yeah,
That's bizarre.
But you go, well, what is the spirit of the law, right? Well, the spirit of the law is obvious because we know what it's about. It's to prevent the pandemic from exploding. And this is narking. This is being a tattletale. This is ratting out. Nobody likes a rat. But why are we ratting? Well, we're ratting because this kills people, and it is killing people. So,
and what gets me with this type of thing too is like there was that wedding in Maine where they traced 7 COVID deaths back to this one wedding in Maine. Nobody who died had attended the wedding. So, like, I would be pissed if I died of a disease from an event that I didn't even go to. So yeah, I completely understand why this person would want to narc because you're putting unknown people at risk and you don't even know how many people.
Right. I mean, I think we're getting very abstract here because then they also say, are they the asshole for not calling? So are you morally obligated to be a rat?
The thing is, like, I think OP kind of like asked too late. Like if you're calling the authorities as people are leaving, like the moment's already passed. I think unless you're going to call for like a tip for contact tracers, I'm just thinking like functionally.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that
like
was
too
the other
late
thing
for them to bust it up at that point.
Well, yeah, but still, you want people to be penalized because if they're penalized, then they'll tell other people they got penalized, and then other people will be like, oh, well, I won't do it then. It works, right? Like it does work. Not saying the legal system's perfect, but like when you do shit like this, it works because then people freak out and they go, well, the cop showed up and I got in trouble. And that's the other thing I was going to say, too. It's like, if you really wanted to be careful about this, I guess you could call them and say, like, hey, I was just wondering, I actually stopped by the party. I don't know if you saw me. I was in the backyard, but I didn't do any contact tracing. I wanted to leave my information with you. Do you have, like, a spreadsheet I can put that in? Like, you could do something sly like that and try to feel like...
neighbor?
Yeah, to see if they were doing contact tracing. Like, was there anything put in place? Were they really trying at all? Or were they blatantly being like, F it, and like...
Don't you think the neighbor would know who was at their party?
Well, they say, oh, well, I was talking, whatever. I ran into someone in the front yard smoking a cigarette or whatever. I don't know.
Oh.
There might be a way.
Maybe. Seems like a bit of a stretch. I don't know if they'd buy it.
Well, whatever. I mean, I'm saying you could call and say, were you doing contact tracing? I'm very concerned. You could be confrontational without involving the authorities. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think you could.
Emery F says, YTA, you spied on your neighbors and want to call the police even though you don't know how many people were actually there. I think you're just mad.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, they counted.
The minimum number of people already broke the regulation.
Yep, both ways.
So what difference does it make if there was 15 or 20? Like, the rule was broken at 10.
Stephanie L says, haha, everyone in America will call YTA because they don't care about the pandemic. I call NTA because I get it.
I do get it.
Fish S, oh my God, NTA, if someone's violating COVID regs, they're the asshole, period. And it is your business because a super spread event next door to your house has the potential to affect you and others in the community.
I mean, that's true. It's like you're literally next door.
I think that's true. I mean, I'm wondering, is it AITA for not calling someone during a pandemic? I kind of feel like you are obligated to report. Like, it's like, look, if there was a shooter outside, you should call someone. I feel like you are obligated. This could just as theoretically kill more people.
If I knew my neighbors were having a rager, then I would feel obligated to do something.
Whisper M says, ESH, they suck for not giving a shit about a global pandemic, and you suck for having your nose so far up their butt that you'll sit and count people as they leave.
Is that bad though?
No, it's not bad. Who cares?
I could picture a lot of people who would do that. Because you wouldn't want to call and be like, oh, I think my neighbor had, I don't know, 10, 20 people. I don't know. I think if you're going to make a call like that, you have to know what the facts of the situations were.
Right. And there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. So what? So they counted. Who cares? I don't really like would be, why are you so neurotic thinking about because I am. So what? That doesn't make me a bad person that I watched. I didn't violate your space. I have time. What time is there more time for than busting your ass? I have the time. Anyway, I think we agree. AITA for wanting to bust up a gender reveal party. NTA and these people are the assholes.
Yeah, I think that those people are for sure the asshole.
On the separate question of AITA for not calling someone during a pandemic, so in other words, am I the asshole if I don't narc? I guess I would say yes. I would say, like, you are an asshole if you don't narc. Freaking narc, because potentially, you know, when people, when like this kind of shit goes unchecked, then people will keep doing it. So narc, and know that you're being the hero by narking and ratting out. Nobody likes a tattletale. Nobody has to know it was you, okay? But like that is where we're at. And you know what? I'll narc right now. I've been doing these comedy shows, and a lot of these comics take off their masks. Leave your mask on. Just leave it on.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna. We were gonna go to that one, but I was just like, I
know.
Didn't feel super safe. Did you end up going to that one?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I was out of town. I was in Virginia, and that was the thing in Virginia. Everyone was very good, and it was super socially distanced. It was really well done.
I'm actually pretty surprised of Virginia. So well done.
Well, no, my friend booked it, you know, and like it's a huge venue, and we only had 25 people there. So like the tables were like over 6 feet apart. I would say like 8 to 10 feet apart. It was really great. But sure enough, after the show, these people that were super nice but super talkative like kept coming closer, and I'm like, stop walking toward me. Just stay 6 feet away. I don't need to fucking look at you. It's annoying, but
yeah, that's too much.
Anyway, guys, stay safe, stay sane, loving. Guys, I can't say I'm actually tearing up. I'm very emotional still. But
oh my gosh.
I can't say enough. I never thought when I started a podcast that like I would feel so much like just gratitude and like, I don't know, I feel supported. I feel like I have a community that supports me, and I'm so grateful for everything everyone sends me, and thank you guys. I'm genuinely appreciative. I'm tearing up, but
oh my God, stop.
I love to hear it. No, it's good. They're good tears.
No,
They're good
it's
tears.
cute. It's cute. I'm glad that you like are so touched by the pod.
I am touched. I am. So it's been a real joy, and we will see you folks next Monday morning.
We sure will.